Okay guys, so I am back with another little very basic tutorial thing that I was talking about. So in this one I'm going to be going over a few of my videos with shots and I guess explain them a little bit. So the first one would be, okay, so here's this video. So I'm playing it on 2x speed. So now if you see here, I can pull up my hatchet, right? And if I do pull up my hatchet, it is quite easy for them to run away. You see that? So at that point, I have to flick, I gotta throw, and they could dodge it. But this was also when I just kind of started with switching to PC, as you can see based off my perks. So none of these people that I ever gone up against were all that good. You know, I came from Xbox and played Huntress there, so my survivors were better. But if you watch what I do to get this Dwight, I see that she's running that way, and he's looking back this way. He's trying to get to the safety of this generator. I can't throw over that. I might be able to, but, you know, with the hitboxes on generators, as most of you guys know, it doesn't always work. But this right here is what he wants to get behind. He wants to get behind here and hope that I'm going for her or, you know, whatever. It's a good last-ditch effort. He's injured. So, now as you can see that, I'm going to slow this down just to kind of prove a point. So, you'll see that I let go before I actually, seen him, right? So, I let go here. That's because on his path, right? Now, you're not always going to be able to hit this, but she's injured. It's obviously smartest to go for him. So, this little space right here, perfectly throwable, and actually, you can still hit him from up here based off of his height, like where his hitbox. I would say around here is where you can't hit him anymore, up here. But while he runs, you can still hit him over here. Now, the whole point of this, of letting go early, is because you know they're going to run in, which is why it's a prediction shot. But not only that, it's like, as Coco says, needle, or threading the needle. There we go. This tiny space, which obviously shouldn't be that hard, but at the same time, you know, sometimes you get really into the game and you don't focus on like the middle of your screen. So obviously sometimes you might just hit this or you might hit that. But the fact that if you know where a survivor is, and this is what you have to do, is you have to pay attention to how they run throughout the entire time of the match. Now, if you pay attention to how they run, this guy, he could have just spun right there or stopped right there, and then I missed. Obviously, I still would have got him regardless, but some survivors are smart and they will stop. And at that point, most of these survivors, they might pull out some really good dodges, and you might as well just pull up a hatchet while you're right behind them, or, you know, see how they dodge a little bit. But that one, you know, obviously pretty common knowledge right there. But I wanted to explain that shot. Now here, this is a really nasty one, and not many people would think about this. So I know that they're up there, and I can hear them being healed, right? So obviously, I can't hit her. I literally perfectly went right above that. Maybe I could hit her right here. You know, maybe, but I doubt it. So watch what I do. When he gets up, her hitbox is going to raise. So that slight incline, like that slight raise of her hitbox, let her get downed. And that she wouldn't realize. So when survivors are being healed, say they're healing a slug and you can't hit them. Well, if you wait until that slug is now injured and up from the ground, their hitbox is going to raise up. Now, on top of that, you can get these like nasty little hits because of healing and other actions that they're doing. Their hitbox will always be above. So when you see stuff like this, you can still hit that. And on the other hand, like, just to show how nasty it is, those truck loops on Auto Haven, you know, if you can see their head right above the lip of the truck, right? And if you aim back up just a little bit and you aim perfectly, you can actually hit them while they're crouched behind the truck, which is another little trick that you can do to avoid those like little dodgers. So here's a video of a prediction hatchet from when I was playing a custom. with one of my friends. So the Quentin down here, that's my friend. Now, you can see that I'm kind of looking for people, and I see these scratch marks that left off, but I didn't want to like keep chasing or anything. But then I realized they're probably going back that way, and they'll run around that building. So I see them in the distance, and now I aim. So if I'm correct, I was actually planning to aim right here, and I missed. But I seen them running. They were looking ahead of them. So when you see a survivor running in a distance, this is where prediction hatchets actually start to pay off a whole lot. So if you don't charge your hatchet fully, as you can see when I let go of my hatchet, right? So if I were to charge this fully, I would not have been able to get that hit. They ran into it, and if I charged it fully, what would happen is instead of arcing, I would hit straight. I would just keep going straight, and I would miss because they already were over here. But the kicker in this is if I did fully charge it and I threw it right here, yes, they're going to run, but because it's aimed up here, it's not going to arc down. The distance that the hatchet goes before arcing down means I wouldn't have got that hit based off of how high this object is. So one thing that you want to focus on when you're sniping and that is the arc, the angle, and your charge. So yes, a lob hatchet is definitely going to be slower, but say, you're on Rotten Fields, right? And you see someone just running because of like Lethal Pursuer or Barbecue. Well, charge your hatchet, aim in front of them, and then they'll run into it, right? Some people are going to be smart. They're going to dodge if they hear that sound. So what you can do is you start to aim upwards and do a quicker throw. Then it will arc down in front of them, but the only part is that it's not going to move as fast, and you'd have to compensate for that. But for the most part, when you're lobbing hatchets, it's typically for like a snipe, going over objects or going for people that are on, like going for saves on hooks or standing still, because the charged hatchet will move faster and it's more reliable. Now, the smarter the survivors, once they finish generators or there's someone who's hooked, they'll stop moving. Or they'll run and then stop to try and bait a throw because they'll know that you probably have that perk. And if they don't know and they keep running, that's when you get those hits. But after that, more often than not, they're going to be smart about it unless they don't have the time to be smart. And that means that sniping like this is not a realistic thing, because I can guarantee you that most of my matches, I don't get shots like that. I don't get shots where people are just running and not paying attention to their surroundings. I don't get shots where, people are just running thinking that they're safe all the time. Sometimes they think that they're safe on certain objects, which is going to take me into the next video. So this one is a very nasty thing. So you can see I was camping this girl because I thought that someone was here. Then I seen that. And they're being like altruistic earlier, hence why like I'm being careful. I heard him over there actually, so I was gonna back up and go over there for a mind game. But now watch this. So you see that I hit the rock, right? But that. So right here, it is tall enough to where her head is about here, right? So the survivor models, she's here, but her hitbox is up here. Now, you can see the way that I threw it. It didn't go straight. So if I were to straight like throw it, like fully charged, it probably wouldn't hit her. Maybe it will. Obviously, these aren't shots you're going to get a lot, because some people will see you pulling up your hatchet and they'll crouch. But on a rock, anything that is survivor height to where you can barely hide their head, you can get hits over it. So this rock, Macmillan rocks, anything that gets up here and then lower, you can throw over and skim those hitboxes. And with Huntress, a lot of the things that you need to do with her involve knowing these hitboxes. If you don't know what the hitboxes are like and what hitboxes, like the height of them and all that, you're not going to perform as well. If you would just sit there and be like, oh, well, this person can't be hit. They're behind a rock, so let me go break that pallet. And then they run over here and do whatever. It won't, effectively, maybe they like got unbreakable, right? But going for these types of shots is the only way that you can learn how to do them. Because if you don't practice these shots and you don't be ambitious, you're not going to get any of the knowledge that you need. Obviously, you can get better, but if you don't take shots like this, you're not going to get those shots. So watch this. Now, obviously, no barbecue. I just assumed. So I see that they're over there, and then I just lob it. And then I got the hit. Now, that won't always work, but the more that you practice it, the more that you just make these shots, you'll get these really satisfying hits. So what I like to say is just go for the crazy hits. Don't worry about like getting really good. Try and figure out what you can throw through and how to effectively use your power. So like this is a very, very slight angle. So I got to move to the side, barely skim this part and that part. So, obviously I'm finding the angle. And then it paid off. So Huntress is a whole shit ton of practice and just repetition over and over and over. Like this match. So I had a little idea of where that girl was hooked, right? And I see all these trees. I didn't know she was going to be saved or anything. And I was elated right there. So that is a perfect example of going for crazy hatchets and lobbing it. If I would have just straightened my hatchet, which a lot of people, like newer Huntresses, they will fully charge their hatchet and that wouldn't have hit. It would have just went straight through the map and that would be the end of it. And I would miss and I'm not getting any better for it. And as you can see on a lot of my videos, it's a lot of, crazy shots. All these shots are prediction shots or through the holes. And that's simply because you can't get these shots if you don't go for it. So all in all, I hope that this is giving you like a baseline of how you should try and learn her. And if so, go for it. Go for those crazy shots. You don't expect to win all the time because even if you're becoming a good Huntress, that doesn't, like, if you lose a game or someone keeps dodging you, it does not make you a bad Huntress. I still get people that dodge, like, really well, and then, they've called me bad, and I'm just like, hey, man, you can say that I'm bad, but in reality, you're really good, and there's nothing wrong with not being as good as someone else, and that's one reason why people get put off from killers that require skill, because in the end of the day, you're doing good against these other players, and then you get put up with some new players who just wreck you. But you guys have to keep going on, and if you're figuring out that you're having a little bit of trouble, then just don't worry about the wins. Just keep throwing, throw over rocks. If you see someone running like really far away through different rocks and jungle gyms, just throw over them. And if you get that hit, that's going to help you learn. But another little tip, just to end this off, use her add-on that makes people glow, because it will teach you how survivors run after they're injured. And once you see how people flip out once they're injured and try and play it safer, you can start seeing how they react on certain maps, certain loops. And once you see how they react, you can start playing with that. Now you have your add-on, and once you take that add-on off, you'll have a very safe little basic understanding of how most people would run. And at that point, you can start getting these snipes and these predictions better. And then eventually you'll go up against better people. And just because you can't get snipes, just because you can't get these prediction shots, does not mean that you're losing your skill. It means that you're going up against better people. And if you want to win, you actually have to start playing Huntress in a less ambitious way, more straightforward, aggressive, holding your hatchet, not just letting go. And it's a weird road, because you go from just playing around and throwing all these magnificent hatchets to getting a good team, and you're just too pressured to even think like that. So you have to just go straight for it. You're going to start M1ing more. You're going to start slugging more. But that's how it's going to be if you want to win. But like I said, don't focus on the wins if you just want to get better, because Huntress does require you to play in a way that's going to cause you to lose. And if people tell you that's not true, then I mean, it's debatable, but if you want to get better at sniping, you're not going to win if all you do is try and snipe, because you're not always going to snipe. Anyways, I hope that helped, and leave some feedback.